So the first step to creating your budget, you're going to need to get some numbers from your current accounting. But let's start by going into the operating budget Start Here button. Click on that.
That's the company name. If you filled in your company name in Isaac, it will be filled in automatically here on budget when you open it.
Okay, enter your year end, your fiscal year end in here. All right, so enter in here the previous year's numbers. For example, your sales volume. What was the sales volume last year? What was the gross profit? Don't worry about the cost of goods sold, because the minute you enter the sales and the gross profit, the cost of goods are going to be calculated by themselves. All right. Next, enter the amount for each one of these expenses that you've incurred last year. So let's say, for example, you spent $12,000 in advertising. Bad debt, well, let's hope you don't have any bad debts, but if you do, enter that amount in here. Bank charges, let's say you spend $2,400 for the year. Insurance, usually what insurance is 1% of your sales, so let's say $2,000. Okay, you got the gist of it. Once you've entered all these amounts for last year, we now want to deal with the current year. So what's it going to look like for this year? Okay, well, what will your sales be for this year, the upcoming year? Are you going to maintain the same level of 2 million, or allow for the natural growth of the company, which is 25% usually? So let's say we add another $600,000. What's 25% of 2 million? 25% would be about half a million dollars. Natural growth would be $2.5 million. What do I mean by natural growth? Well, if you did nothing to hold the company back, and if you relied on your advertising and marketing, and if you relied on everything that you did to reach this number, then the company would naturally get $2.5 million in sales, which is 25% growth. That's not to say that you cannot be more aggressive and get it to a higher number. Now, the next thing you need to remember is this number here. You're probably asking, well, how do you know I'm going to reach $2.5 million? Well, I don't. You do. This is your goal. This is not something that you dream of. It is a goal that you set yourself, and you work towards that goal. So if you say, for example, you want to grow the company by 50%, well, of course, you say $3 million. Not enough zeros. And there's too many zeros. Okay, that was a little too ambitious. So at $3 million, that's your goal. That doesn't say that you cannot get there. If you set yourself a goal and work towards that goal, you will get there. If you set your goal low, you will also get there. So why not go for the large goal and go after that? Your gross profit, what do you anticipate your gross profit to be? Remember, this is margins, not markup. So if your margin, for example, is 32%, change this number. If it is 29%, leave it alone. But let's say 32%. So having done that, now let's take a look at these expenses in here. What do you anticipate in change? Advertising and promotion, as a rule, should be about 2% of your sales. Unless you're in the service industry, and then in the service industry, of course, it would be a lot greater. Sometimes it could be as high as 15% of sales, margin of sales. But typically, for a construction company, you want to have an ongoing marketing program, because you want to be out there all the time, nonstop. Marketing is ongoing, has to be ongoing. So you can see this is about 2.16%. It's a little higher than it should be, but you get the gist of it. We need to reach that margin of 2% of sales to have a proper marketing program. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to maintain it at the same level, then just put zero in here, no growth. What you'll get is exactly the same amount that you spent last year. But remember, if you want to grow your business, you need to spend more money in marketing. So there's no two ways about it. So we'll go back to 350. That's our recommendation. Now, bank charges, we say no change. You can either leave it blank or put zero. Now, insurance, you spend $20,000 on premium, which is 1% of your sales. You have a growth of 25% for the upcoming year, or you anticipate a growth of 25%. Then you put that same growth in here. Now, remember, not everything grows in the same level. For example, bank charges don't grow. License and permits. Remember, this is just licenses and permits that are required for overhead, not cost of goods. Permits that are building related or construction related are not to be entered in here. This is strictly overhead. Any license or permits that you need for your facilities, for your offices. Meals and entertainment. Again, that's only what's related for you to meet clients or meet salespeople or whatever, but not what's related to maintain sites. And so on and so on. It's the same thing. For example, telephone. This is just the office phone, not any field phones, not cell phones that are related to field costs. Travel, again, that's not travel for construction, that's travel for overhead. Vehicles, you need to separate the vehicles between the overhead and the cost of goods. And what you enter in here is only the administration vehicles.
All right, so I just want to point out some of the things, some of the features on this page. Number one, there's a print button here, and if I click on that, it will create a printable version of this page. And that's true on every page in the budget module. You can create printable versions, so if you want to print your annual budget, then you can. I also want to talk about these two numbers right here. They show up after you finish filling in all your information about last year's overhead and this year's overhead. It will give you an overhead markup number and it will give you a net profit markup number. This is the number you need to add to every job going out. Every job you quote on, everything in the service industry, every dollar going out has to have an overhead markup on it. And this will give you the number that you need to add. The net profit markup, you can make your net profit whatever you're capable of getting. But if you want to meet the goal that you set for yourself, this is going to be the minimum you need to add for net profit on all the dollars going out.
Explain to us how that 34.32% has been achieved. How does the calculation in this whole table gets us to 34.32%?
Well, as you know, Amos, the net profit is all the money you earn after your overhead is subtracted from your sales, after your cost of goods is subtracted from your sales. So it's taking a look at what you intended to earn, it's taking a look at what's your overhead costs and your gross profit margin, and it uses that calculation, subtracts the overhead, and comes up with what net profit you need to achieve this number here.
Okay, so what you're saying in essence, this 32% margin would equal 34 plus 9.5, say 10%, and 34, 44% markup overall.
Exactly.
So 44% markup will achieve 32% margin.
That's
correct?
Right. Yes, that's right.
All right. Now that we understand that, we can move on to the next one, right, Dan?
Right, yeah.
All right.
Okay.